The life and sad ending of Merle Haggard. Merle Ronald Haggard was born on April 6, 1937. Haggard's parents were Flossie Mae and James Francis Haggard. The family moved to California from their home in Checotah, Oklahoma, during the Great Depression, after their barn burned in 1934. Haggard was born in Oildale, California, during the Great Depression. His childhood was troubled after the death of his father, and he was incarcerated several times in his youth. After being released from San Quentin State Prison in 1960, he managed to turn his life around and launch a successful country music career. Haggard was married 5 times, first to Leona Hobbs from 1956 to 1964. They had 4 children: Dana, Marty, Kelly, and Noel. Shortly after divorcing Hobbs, in 1965, he married singer, Bonnie Owens. Haggard credited her with helping him make his big break as a country artist. He shared the writing credit with Owens for his hit "Today I Started Loving You Again" and acknowledged, including on stage, that the song was about a sudden burst of special feelings he experienced for her while they were touring together. She also helped care for Haggard's children from his first marriage and was the maid of honor for Haggard's third marriage. Haggard and Owens divorced in 1978 but remained close friends as Owens continued as his backing vocalist until her death in 2006. In 1978, Haggard married Leona Williams. In 1983, they divorced. In 1985, Haggard married Debbie Parrott. They divorced in 1991. He married his 5th wife, Teresa Ann Lane, on September 11, 1993. They had 2 children, Janessa and Ben. Next career is as follows. His debut performance was with Teague in a Modesto bar named Fun Center, for which he was paid $5 and given free beer. He sang songs that were well received by the audience. Because of this positive reception, Haggard decided to pursue a career in music. While working as a farmhand or in oil fields, he played in nightclubs. Haggard's first record for Tally was Singing My Heart Out, backed by Skid Row. It was not a success, and only 200 copies were pressed. In 1962, Haggard wound up performing at a Wynn Stewart show in Las Vegas and heard Wynn sing a sad song. He asked for permission to record it, and the resulting single was a national hit in 1964. The following year, he had his first national top 10 record with My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers, written by Liz Anderson, mother of country singer Lynn Anderson, and his career was off and running. In 1967, Haggard recorded I Am a Lonesome Fugitive with the Strangers, also written by Liz Anderson, with her husband Casey Anderson, which became his first #1 single. The 1967 album Branded Man with the Strangers kicked off an artistically and commercially successful run for Haggard. At the time of Haggard's first top 10 hit My Friends Are Gonna Be Strangers in 1965, background harmonies on Haggard hits such as Sing Me Back Home and Branded Man. Towards the end of the decade, Haggard composed several #1 hits, including Mama Tried, The Legend of Bonnie and Clyde, Hungry Eyes, and Sing Me Back Home. Daniel Cooper calls Sing Me Back Home a ballad that works on so many different levels of the soul it defies one's every attempt to analyze it. Haggard's songs attracted attention from outside the country field. The Everly Brothers covered both Sing Me Back Home and Mama Tried on their 1968 country rock album Roots. The following year, Haggard's songs were performed or recorded by a variety of artists, including the Gram Parsons incarnation of the Byrds, who performed Sing Me Back Home on the Grand Ole Opry and recorded Life in Prison for their album Sweetheart of the Rodeo. Haggard's 1970 LP, a tribute to the best damn fiddle player in the world, dedicated to Bob Wills, helped spark a permanent revival and expanded the audience for Western swing. By this point, Haggard was one of the most famous country singers in the world, having enjoyed an immensely successful artistic and commercial run with Capitol, accumulating 24 #1 country singles since 1966. During the early to mid-1970s, Haggard and the Strangers' country chart domination continued with songs such as Someday Well Look Back, Grandma Harp, Always Wanting You, and The Roots of My Raising. Between 1973 and 1976, he and the Strangers scored 9 consecutive #1 country hits. Haggard appeared on the cover of Time on May 6, 1974. He also wrote and performed the theme song to the television series Movin' On, which in 1975 gave him and the Strangers another #1 country hit. Singer-activist Joan Baez, who covered Sing Me Back Home and Mama Tried. Crooner Dean Martin, who recorded I Take a Lot of Pride in What I Am for his album of the same name, and the Grateful Dead, whose live cover of Mama Tried became a staple in their repertoire until the band's end in 1995. In the original Rolling Stone review for Haggard and the Strangers' 1968 album Mama Tried, Andy Wickham wrote, "His songs romanticize the hardships and tragedies of America's transient proletarian. And his success is resultant of his inherent ability to relate to his audience a commonplace experience with precisely the right emotional pitch. Merle Haggard looks the part and sounds the part because he is the part. He's great." In 1977, he switched to MCA Records and began exploring the themes of depression, alcoholism, and middle age on albums such as Serving 190 Proof and The Way I Am. Haggard sang a duet cover of Billy Burnett's What's a Little Love Between Friends with Linda Carter in her 1980 television music special, Linda Carter, Encore, and also scored a #1 hit in 1980 with Barroom Buddies, a duet with actor Clint Eastwood that appeared on the Bronco Billy soundtrack. Haggard appeared in an episode of The Waltons entitled The Comeback, Season 5, Episode 3, original air date October 10, 1976. He played a bandleader named Red, who had been depressed since the death of his son. In 1981, Haggard published an autobiography, Sing Me Back Home. The same year, he alternately spoke and sang the ballad The Man in the Mask. Written by Dean Pitchford, whose other work includes Fame, Footloose, Sing, Solid Gold, and the musical Carrie, this was the combined narration and theme for the movie The Legend of the Lone Ranger, a box office flop. Between 1981 and 1985, Haggard scored 12 more top 10 country hits, with 9 of them reaching #1, including My Favorite Memory, Going Where the Lonely Go, Someday When Things Are Good, and Natural High. In addition, in 1982 Haggard recorded 2 chart-topping duets with George Jones, Yesterday's Wine, and with Willie Nelson, Poncho and Lefty in 1983. Haggard was hampered by financial woes well into the 1990s, as his presence on the charts diminished in favor of newer country singers, such as George Strait and Randy Travis. Haggard's last #1 hit was Twinkle, Twinkle Lucky Star from his smash album Chill Factor in 1988. After those difficulties, he returned in the 2003 Haggard and the Strangers' #1 hit single Mama Tried as featured film radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris, as well as in Brian Bertino's The Strangers with Liv Tyler. In addition, his and the Strangers' song Swingin' Doors can be heard in the film Crash 2004, and his 1981 hit Big City, where he is backed by the Strangers, is heard in Joel and Ethan Coen's film Fargo. In 2005, Haggard was featured as a guest vocalist on Gretchen Wilson's song Politically Uncorrect, which earned a Grammy nomination for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals. He is also featured singing a verse on Eric Church's 2006 song Pledge Allegiance to the Hag. In 2005, Haggard was featured as a guest vocalist on Blaine Larson's song If Merle Would Sing My Song. In October 2005, Haggard released his album Chicago Wind to mostly positive reviews. The album contained an anti-Iraq war song titled America First, Let's Get Out of Iraq, and Get Back on Track. This follows from his 2003 release Haggard Like Never Before, in which he includes a song, That's the News. Haggard released a bluegrass album, The Bluegrass Sessions, on October 2, 2007. In April 2010, Haggard released a new album, I Am What I Am, to strong reviews, and he performed the title song on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in February 2011. In 2015, Haggard was featured as a guest vocalist on Don Henley's song The Cost of Living on the album Cass County. Haggard's last recording, a song called Kern River Blues, described his departure from Bakersfield in the late 1970s and his displeasure with politicians. The song was recorded on February 9, 2016, and features his son Ben on guitar. This record was released on May 12, 2016. He received many honors and awards for his music, including a Kennedy Center honor in 2010, a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006, a BMI Icon Award in 2006, an induction into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1977, Country Music Hall of Fame 1994 and Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame 1997. And that's what we can remember about him. On the morning of April 6, 2016, his 79th birthday, he died of complications from pneumonia at his home in Palo Cedro, Shasta County, California. Thank you for all that you have brought into this world.